Whitney Stadium. The push, the ball comes out. Wow. UConn gets the stop. They're going to run it back the entire way.
Just inches away from ending a 17-game road losing streak.
And now it's time to take a deep breath as the Owls stumble into the bye week.
Live from the studio set. In Week 6, there were only 5 games across the AAC, with 3 of them being interconference matchups. Later in the show, I'll break down the results from each one. Owl Sports Update is live, and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Inside the Nest. I'm Sam Cavone and he's Hayden Bandel. We have reached the halfway point of the Temple football season, and this deflated loss was not what the Owls needed as they head into a bye week.
With 2 chances to punch it in from the 1, Temple was stopped from the howl of the Huskies. And without QB Evan Simon, it made things that much more difficult. After 2 extra days of rest, Temple was seeking to secure its second non-conference victory. The Huskies were previously in the AAC, but became independent in 2019. The last time the Owls went to East Hartford, they won by 50 points. On Saturday, they were looking to snap a losing streak that felt like it's lasted 50 years. Temple back on the road for the first time in a month, but as always, Hooter is there. Evan Simon did not dress due to his shoulder injury. Forrest Brock gets a starting job back and gets dropped on the opening drive. After Dante Wright fumbles on a punt return, UConn takes over in Owls territory, and on 3rd and long, DeJuan Black applies pressure and forces Joe Fignano to throw it away. Since missing the first 4 games of the season, Black has excelled on the field. Chris Freeman does convert from 40 yards, plus to give UConn a 3-0 lead. To the second quarter, the JUCO guy has got some mojo going for him. Therese Worthy shakes off 1 defender. Worthy led Temple with 95 rushing yards on the afternoon. Huskies now inside their own 10. Fignano is going to check it down to TJ Sheffield, and DJ Woodbury is there to take him out of bounds. DJ takes out TJ. That'll also take UConn's offense on the field, and the special teams punt is blocked by Antoine Santiago, and John Adams jumps on top of it to give Temple 6.
At the start of the second half, it's 9-7, and who other than Maddox Trujillo getting the 60-yard field goal.
It's got enough leg. Wow. And booms it through. How about that? Wow. Maddox Trujillo, an absolute bomb.
A little over 2 minutes left in the third. Fignano passes to TJ Sheffield, who spins around the defenders and runs 58 yards. TJ gets the TD. UConn retakes the lead 16-13. After a rushing touchdown by Brock to put the Owls up again, the Huskies respond with a touchdown of their own. Darrell Robinson rushes 1 yard to make it a 3-point ball game. But now, the very last play of the game, Temple can kick a field goal to tie it, but instead the Owls go for the win.
The Huskies close this one out. Much Jordan Wright with the touchdown. UConn wins the game.
Temple leaves East Hartford with broken hearts, falling 29-20 to the Huskies.
What side of that coin are you going to be on?
Throwing for 136 yards, Forrest Brock completed 18 pass attempts. One of his incompletions was caught by the Huskies. Brock has now thrown an interception in every game he has appeared in. Therese Worthy only came into the game with 7 touches. On the season, had 12 of them on Saturday for 95 yards. Outside of Dante Wright, no Owl receiver had more than 2 catches. Wright grabbed 8 of them, but none of them were for touchdowns, snapping his 4-game streak of reaching the end zone. Believe it or not, and I suggest you believe it, Temple's rush defense prevented UConn from any explosive plays. They held the Huskies to under 100 rushing yards. But in the end, beyond the stats, the road losing streak continues.
Obviously, it shouldn't come down to that play. I thought we played not the standard on offense early in the game. I thought our defense did a great job of keeping us in the game for the most part. The turnovers were good to see, keeping us in the game. Our special teams played extremely well early. I thought we played 2 phases pretty good. First, half of that ball game, and offense came on a little late. But still enough to give us a chance to win that ball game. Came down to the last play, we didn't get it done. I'm going to coach to win because that's what my players wanted. That's what we want as a coach staff. That's what I want as a head football coach, is to win ball games. And, I think our players have been through so much and they deserve that. And I think it was absolutely the right call. I would do it again. Yeah, I think our kids were ready to go, including Maddox. That was a hell of a field goal. He turned around and missed a shorter one. We needed those points at that time. Again, we make those points. We had those opportunities early in the game. We don't come down to this situation, I don't think. But no, that was a great kick. I mean, he's a phenomenal kicker. And but all in all, I think our kids were ready to go all day today. I really do. It wasn't an easy defense we had to block today in terms of, especially throwing the football. I think they did a pretty good job for the most part protecting the quarterback and, staying poised against a whole lot of different pressure looks that they were giving us. So I thought they did a pretty good job. I see the film to confirm that, but I think they did a good job.
Hayden, we have to talk about that last play of the game because in my opinion, that was not the right play. You have a kicker who is guaranteed to make a 3-point to tie the game.
Is he though?
He
missed from 34.
Okay, you have a good point, but you don't have a quarterback who can do it right now. Your defense has been holding a good offense. You should probably go for 3 and tie the game. Hope your defense continues to do what they've been doing, and then hope that you can get the 6 points on the board. If Evan Simon's not in, I get it, but I just don't know. It's so confusing.
I disagree. I totally think that it was the right play call. You're on the road. You have to go for the win, especially to snap this road losing streak that we've been harping on all season. You have to go for the win, especially when you're on the road. And even if you just want to play the analytics game, right? They had 2 chances at it from the 1. So I'm going to take my chances and hoping that they can get 1 rushing yard from the 1-yard line to get a win on the road. I agree with the play call. I think it was the right decision, even though it didn't work out.
I just think their quarterback, when you have a third-string quarterback in who hasn't been in these high-pressure situations, that's not the time to do it.
Maybe putting Douglas in was the questionable decision, but I still think that they should have went for it.
Hayden, we talked a lot about questionable decisions just now that led to the Owls' loss in East Hartford. But one of the bigger issues has been the microcosms of the season that actually occurred in the third quarter.
Yeah, in a close game and Temple driving, we all saw on full display all the communication issues that have been mentioned by players and coaches constantly throughout the season. 2-point game, Temple ball driving in UConn territory. On second down, Terez Worthy takes the handoff, avoids a tackle, and picks up 4 yards on the run. That is going to bring up third down. Now watch John Adams. He's going to be on the bottom of your screen. He looks back towards the sideline. He thinks he's supposed to be in motion. Then he sees James Delapesco's already running. Dante Wright's pointing at someone on the sideline. Play clock's winding down. And so Temple is forced to call an early timeout in the second half.
At that moment, or didn't love what they saw.
You just don't want to have to take that timeout, especially in a close game, second half. It's different if it's the first half, Jordan, but it's just a miscommunication. Looked like Forrest Brock wasn't quite sure what they ran. Maybe someone missed a line.
Out of the timeout, Temple trying to gain the 6 yards now for a first down, and Brock's pass to the middle of the field to Holloway is incomplete. So now it brings up fourth down, and Temple lines up for what is going to be a 55-yard field goal to take the lead.
And a late substitution to the field goal unit as Diego Barajas had to hustle in there.
Oh, that was a great move here by UConn.
And now UConn's trying to talk to Malachi McLean. A flag comes out as McLean was being told to stay on the field.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, fourth down.
Special teams have been exciting today.
Yeah. So, Jordan, what happened there is Temple substituted at the last second, and what happens is now the defense is allowed to substitute. So UConn told the guy on the sideline to run on the field to then force the delay of game penalty because they have to give UConn time to substitute. So it was either timeout or delay of game, and Temple took the delay of game.
And they call that chess, not checkers.
The delay of game turned the 55-yard field goal into a 60-yarder. Trulio did bail out Standrain and company by hitting it from the logo, but again, a timeout and a delay of game within 2 plays early in the third were some of those glaring issues for this Temple team. And Sam, this is something that just cannot happen, especially in the second half where you're forced to burn a timeout that maybe you could have used later on in the game when we were just talking about.
I mean, the quarterback should never be that confused. It just shouldn't happen. There's been so much miscommunication. They have the headset for a reason with the communication. Simon was able to adjust so quickly even without that headset. There just is too much miscommunication on this team.
Yeah, it's something that just cannot happen. Even with the timeout usage, it's something that throughout Stan Drayton's tenure we've seen issues with, even dating back to the Coastal Carolina game where Coastal Carolina has the football with 40 seconds left to go in the first half, and they decide not to use timeouts and just go into the locker room.
I mean, Temple is so lucky that Maddox is able to hit these field goals and kind of bail them out, as you mentioned, and take these leads and get them where they can, but that just cannot continue happening over the course of this season. And, you know, we mentioned it, over the last 6 weeks, Temple has seen some winnable games fall by the wayside, and this UConn loss is just a prime example.
We now welcome Inside the Nest beat reporter Kayla Levine, who is live outside of Edberg Olson Hall. Hey, Kayla.
Hey, guys. Yes, you've heard the saying, football is a game of inches. Temple proved that on their game on Saturday with its final play. It had a possible win turn into a frustrating loss. This continues a long road losing streak that marks back 3 years.
And the punt is blocked in the end zone, and diving on it for the touchdown is Temple.
Another road game and another loss, but this one by just a foot or two.
UConn rushes 4, passes caught. Landon Morris.
Temple's 4th and goal in the final seconds might just be the toughest loss in this road losing streak that now sits at 17 games.
Offense came on a little late, but still enough to give us a chance to win that ball game. Came down to the last play, we didn't get it done.
There are not many character wins in Division I football, but that doesn't mean there aren't some positives that came out of Saturday's loss. The Owls stopped UConn's highly rated run game, allowing only 99 yards on the ground. Instead, it was the lack of key playmaking in critical moments that overshadowed some of these positives.
They did not have a good start to this game in the first 2 quarters. Offense didn't give up on themselves, and found a way to get the ball moving in critical situations in that ball game, and just all around that way on special teams and defense as well. I thought our kids showed a lot of grit.
1 offensive touchdown, a touchdown off a blocked punt, and 2 field goals. With one more score on 4th and goal on the game's final play, the Owls would be heading into the bye week with a win, but for now, they're once again left with lots of questions to answer. The Owls' next road game is not until October 26th. In all, the Owls have 3 more road games in 2024 to stop that losing streak. Live from Edberg Olson Hall, I'm Kayla Levine. Hayden and Sam, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kayla. Now we are going to turn our attention to our play breakdown.
This week, we'll be breaking down the 2 plays that played a large role in this game. We'll start with mine, and we can start it right here. UConn's going to get the ball and punt it to Temple. Connor Stutz has the ball, but Anton Santiago just gets there, smacks the ball out of his hands. John Adams recovers the ball for a Temple score. We're going to watch it again, and now in slow motion, you can just see all of this blown coverage allows Santiago to get to Stutz, to get the ball, to get John Adams the touchdown. It's a perfect play on Temple's part, and it works really well.
So now we all saw the last play of the game. This is the play right that we were talking about on the 1-yard line. You can play it here. It's going to be a run for Antoine Littleton, looking for his first touchdown of the season, but he gets stopped right at the 1. And we're going to watch it again one more time because I want you guys to watch number 2 in white, Ronte Jones. He's right here, and he just gets right in behind. No one even touches him. James Telepeska could have had an opportunity at stopping him, but he had to stop someone else. And look at him just go in untouched, grabs Littleton from behind, and he is the key reason that Temple was stopped on that 3rd down play.
Well, you know, Hayden, we finally have someone in the lead.
Oh, yeah.
Here are your Inside the Nest updating standings. Kayla, Jackson, and I all picked Temple to beat UConn. Unfortunately for us, we were off just by a couple of inches. That brings our record to 4-2. Hayden takes the lead at 5-1.
Yup, Sam, it's a game of inches, and it went my way. I'm trying still to defend my crown from last season, and you guys have now allowed me to control my own destiny. So thank you. 11-1, here I come. But I've got a long ways before that, just like Dante Wright on his huge catch against Coastal Carolina. Where does that rank among Temple's top plays of the season at the midway point?
We'll be looking back at the first half of the season for the Owls when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Inside the Nest will return in 90 seconds.
Welcome back to Inside the Nest. The season is halfway over, but with the bye week coming up, and they're 1-5 overall.
0-2 in the AAC, which is dead last. Temple has not had a winning season since 2019, when Anthony Russo led the Owls to their last bowl game. Right now, Temple sits at 1-5. The last time the Owls started this slowly was in 2020, when they finished the season at 1-6 overall. That was the shortened COVID year. Including that COVID year, through this past weekend, the Owls are 11-38 overall, with only 4 conference wins during this time.
Despite the one win this season, it hasn't been all bad for the Owls.
Inside the Nest beat reporter Jackson Batchelor is live at the studio set with players who have stood out this season. Hey, Jackson.
Guys, I'm going to give you 2 names. One of the guys is a guy on the defensive side of the ball, and the other is a special teamer. My 2 standout Owls are DJ Woodbury and, of course, Maddox Trio. Woodbury, the single-digit linebacker, has been the heart and soul of this Temple defense this season. Through the first 6 weeks, Woodbury leads the team in tackles with 55, and 33 of those are solo tackles. His 55 tackles is second in the AAC and tied for 6th in the FBS. The senior also had double-digit tackles in 4 straight games from weeks 2 through 5, with 15 tackles in the Coastal Carolina game. As for the other standout player, Maddox Trujillo is certainly living up to his nickname of Automatics. The redshirt senior already made national headlines a few weeks ago with his history-making kick of 65 yards. But he is not stopping there. In the matchup against UConn, Trujillo hit another 60-yard field goal. He is now the 3rd kicker in NCAA history to have multiple 60-plus yard field goals in the same season. The other 2 came from the state of Texas in the late 1970s. Tony Franklin from Texas A&M in 1976. Franklin also played for the Eagles under Dick Vermeil, by the way. And there's Russell Erxley, who was from Texas in 1977. Last year, 2 Owls made it to the NFL in Jordan McGee and Yvonne Rigby. In 2024, while the Owls do have 6 games left to play, both Woodbury and Trio both have NFL-level potential. Guys, back to you on the desk.
Thanks, Jackson. You named your standout players thus far, and now here's our top plays. Coming in at number 3, we have a DJ Woodbury sack. Now, this sack happened at the Coastal Carolina game. It was the first sack to a Coastal Carolina quarterback, Ethan Vasco, on the season. In this game, DJ Woodbury actually had a career high of 15 tackles. So it just goes to show that DJ Woodbury is legit and he belongs on this list.
Now, number 2, this is going to be from the offense. Evan Simon to Dante Wright, 37 yards through the air, 91 yards overall after the catch. This gave Temple its first lead of the season against Utah State. It was a heck of a run from Dante Wright after he made the catch, and it was also the 2nd longest passing play in school history.
Now, it wouldn't be our top 3 without the best moment of the season thus far. Of course, we had to bring up Maddox Trujillo's 65-yard field goal at the Link, breaking Lincoln Financial Field history records, breaking all sorts of history records. Jackson mentioned it, making national headlines. It wouldn't be our top plays without this play, of course.
Definitely not.
But we've taken a look back at Temple's season, and when we return, we'll be taking a look ahead.
When we come back, we will be going no huddle. That's right, it's back. Inside the Nest will be back shortly. Welcome back to Inside the Nest. For this bye-week edition of our show, we are bringing back no huddle, since our route to success needed a break over the bye.
And with that, we are now joined by Owl Sports Update anchor Michael Merville, who was Mr. No Huddle in high school.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, guys, question 1. What does Temple need to focus on during its bye week?
Well, guys, I think that Temple should focus on that run defense. Opponents are getting whatever they want against Temple. They're averaging 233 rushing yards a game, also 15 rushing touchdowns in total this season against Temple. Teams are just scoring predominantly on the run, so I think that they should focus on that run defense.
Temple needs to work on starting fast. The team has been outscored 50-3 in the first quarter. If they can address that, the rest of the season should be a good amount of time. Now, question number 2. What grade do you give this team as a whole so far this season?
Guys, my grade for this team so far this season is going to be a D+. Just to start off with some positive, Temple has found areas of success in that pass game, more specifically when Evan Simon has played. The only win from the season came from from Simon's play against Utah State, in which he scored 5 touchdowns. But again, like I said, that run defense is a huge area of concern for the Owls. They've just not been able to make tackles, and the 1-5 record speaks for itself. The record is the Owls' worst through the first 6 games since 2020, so I honestly cannot bring the grade higher than a D+.
Yeah, Michael, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I'm giving them a D. This is a season in under year 3 with Stan Drayton. We needed to see results. They're 1-5. We're not getting the results. And most of the guys in that locker room are from him and his staff, right? Only 6 guys this year aren't from his staff and they're from the previous one. So without those results, I give them a D. With that said, who is going to be the leader in passing yards at the end of the season?
Well, guys, this might be a little bit controversial, but I do believe it will be Forrest Brock. Now, I say this because we don't have any updates on when Evan Simon will return from that shoulder injury, and Brock is still the presumptuous QB1. Brock is sitting at 541 passing yards this season, about 140 yards shy of Simon. So if he continues his play and, more importantly, improves his play with Simon on the bench, Brock could potentially pass him.
Michael, I disagree. I think it's going to be Evan Simon. He has 680 yards in the first 3 in the games he started, the 3 games. He's the reason for the spark in the offense. But we are all out of time for No Huddle. Thank you so much for joining us, Michael.
You can catch Michael Merville alongside Julia Green next Thursday on Owl Sports Update. But stick with us for right now. When we come back, we'll be going around the American.
Welcome back to Inside the Nest. There are only 2 undefeated teams remaining in the AAC.
Inside the Nest beat reporter Jackson Batchelor is live at the studio set to take us around the American. Hey, Jackson.
Guys, we have reached full-on conference play across the AAC, but there were 4 teams sitting on a bye this past weekend. For those in action, Navy remains undefeated as the Midshipmen beat Air Force 34-7 in Colorado Springs. Speaking of the undefeateds, Army dominated Tulsa on the road 49-7 as the Black Knights won their 4th conference win. Army and Navy are both undefeated this late in the season for the first time since 1945. Tulane put up 71 points at UAB as the Green Wave won by 51, and Charlotte was the lone AAC team who was victorious at home as they beat the 49ers beat East Carolina 55-24. As we are 6 weeks through the 2024 season, the conference Army currently has a tiebreaker over Navy for the #1 spot in the AAC with 4 conference wins combined. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Jackson Batchelor. Guys, back to you on desk.
Thank you, Jackson. Temple coming up on its bye week. Sam, you got any bye week plans?
Yeah, I'm going to be watching the Phillies, of course. What about you?
I'm going to be watching the Mets, of course. How could I not?
A little ITN competition we have going on here.
You know what I'm also going to be doing? I'm going to be playing some EA Sports College football with Temple, trying to knock off some wins. I might go on the road with them, too.
Try to get them to the championships.
That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to do. But unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for this week's edition of Inside the Nest. But don't worry, Temple may be on a bye week, but you know we're not.
Join us next week as we look ahead to Temple's matchup against the Tulsa Golden Hurricane. Thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe, and have a great week.